Hey guys, it's Becca. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am filming my first trimester recap video. I figured it would be a good way to document this pregnancy journey without totally overwhelming you with pregnancy updates. So I think I'm just gonna do it in first, second, and third trimester segments. So I think that's how we'll do it. But I'm currently 16 weeks pregnant, so I thought, man, I need to go ahead and do this before it gets too far along and I start forgetting things from the first trimester. So I wanted to go ahead and document this while it's still semi-fresh in my mind. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So I wanted to start by mentioning that I do have a pregnancy announcement video, so definitely check that out first. I go into way more detail sharing about how we found out we were pregnant, how long we were trying, and kind of our journey up until actually finding out we're pregnant. So definitely go check that out if you haven't seen it already. But one thing I wanted to start with sharing was the app that I've been using. It is called Pregnancy Plus, and I'll see if I can get a picture of it up on the screen. But let me pull it up on my phone. It has been so helpful. I know there's so many apps out there and there's so many amazing ones, but I have been loving the Pregnancy Plus app. I feel like in the first couple of weeks, you are so excited when you just find out. And I, every day, was looking at the app, seeing, okay, what kind of developmental things are happening today, what's going on inside of my body, like all the fun stuff. And I feel like the later it's gone on, or the longer I've been pregnant, I feel like I'm only looking at it about once a week now. But it's really cool because it gives you a 3D image of what your baby looks like week by week. So that's really, really cool. I've been loving that. There's a place where you can daily check in and see what is happening in your body and with the baby every day. And there's a more kind of overall general one that goes week by week, gives you your baby's size, its weight. When you click on another tab, it gives you the actual size of the baby. So it goes by, let me go back all the way. So I know I was looking at this at week, 6, 7, when it was really early on and you're wanting to know, so week 7, your baby's the size of a grain of rice. Week 8, it's the size of a blueberry. Week 9, the size of a raspberry. So you can kind of go all the way through your pregnancy and it gives you a visual of how big your baby is. So it's pretty cool and you can document all kinds of stuff. There's a kick counter, contractions counter, all kinds of stuff, an FAQ if you have questions. All kinds of tips and everything. So I feel like this app has so much to offer. So I've really been loving Pregnancy Plus. So overall, I'll get into all of the symptoms, food aversions, cravings, kind of everything that I've been experiencing the last several weeks. But overall, the first trimester has been a lot of fun. You get to tell your family, you get to do your first ultrasound, all of that. So I think we told our family at week 9, we wanted to wait until the first ultrasound just to make sure that everything was good and all of that before we started telling family. But we actually had to wait until 10 weeks. My specific doctor had us wait until 10 weeks. So that was really hard to find out. I think I found out we were pregnant at week 5. So to go another 5 weeks with no ultrasound, no doctor's appointment, you're just kind of hoping that everything's okay. And, I definitely knew the reality of the first trimester and the risk of a miscarriage. And so I feel like I stayed pretty guarded to the idea of the baby. And I wasn't, I wasn't telling anybody. I wasn't really like looking online for baby clothes, or I just wasn't allowing myself to fully get excited about it yet because I did have a little bit of fear. So I really wanted to stay guarded, and waiting those 5 weeks to go into that first ultrasound was really, really hard because I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna show up at week 10 and I hope everything's okay and there's nothing I can do. But of course, everything went perfectly. We have a perfectly healthy baby, and so I feel like coming out of that first ultrasound, I was able to fully get excited. And so at that point, it was within that same week where we told our family and went to the same ultrasound. So it really felt like that was the week it became real for me. And so moving into the symptoms though, like I mentioned, we found out that I was pregnant around week 5. So I had actually waited until my period was a week late to even test. So my period had been a week late before. I'd been late, and so I didn't want to get my hopes up because I'd gotten my hopes up before. And I'm like, oh, I'm 4 days late, I'm 5 days late, and you're taking test after test after test, and then your period comes. So I definitely, again, was really staying guarded to that. So waiting until I was a week late to take a test was, I think, really healthy for me personally, just because it had been almost a year. And so it was week 5 where we found out. So up until that point, up until week 5, I really hadn't felt any kind of symptoms. Of course, I spent the whole year Googling every month, how do you know you're pregnant? All the pre-pregnancy symptoms. And of course, I wasn't experiencing any of those things. So I'm thinking, okay, it's a normal month. Like, I'm just waiting for my period to come. And, normally I start getting kind of like bloated and crampy and moody and emotional. And that normally happens the day before I start my period. But I kept waiting for that to come, and it never came. So that was really my only indicator that I was pregnant. Other than that, I really wasn't experiencing any symptoms that would point to, oh, you're pregnant, other than I just wasn't having a period. So after taking the test, I thought, okay, well, it's been smooth sailing, like no nausea, I feel great, everything's normal. Week 6 rolled around, same thing. I was like, okay, I'm feeling good. Like, nothing's happening. Maybe I'm gonna be the one lucky person that doesn't get nauseous. This is gonna be so great. Well, week 7 came, and I woke up and it was like, it hit me. I mean, so nauseous, down for the count, and I hadn't quite figured out how to manage it yet. The first week, you just feel so awful. And it's the first time I had really experienced nausea like that on that level, and to where I'm talking like sun up to sundown. There was no relief, nothing. I was just drinking lots of water. Nothing really sounded good to eat, but I knew that I needed to eat. And so it was this weird, I don't know, it was just weird. So I'm Googling what foods to eat in the first trimester when you're sick and all of that. And I'd heard other people say, oh, like, salty crackers, or, cold juicy fruits, or, different things like that had worked for other people that sounded good. And so when I started hearing what sounded good for other girls in their first trimester, I was thinking, ooh, yeah, that does sound good. Like, that really sounds good. So I go to the grocery store and I buy a huge thing of pre-cut watermelon and a giant thing of goldfish and saltine crackers. And that was basically what I survived on for the weeks to come. That's all that sounded good. And the smell of any kind of meat or vegetable, it just was so unappetizing. And I had Andy, he had to go eat his dinner outside because I was like, I can't smell, like, chicken, burger, like anything like that. I was like, please take that outside. I cannot have that in the house. So I would say from week 7 to really week 12 was when the nausea really subsided. So it was about 5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks of just feeling almost this car sick feeling all the time. And I only actually got sick one time to where I actually threw up. So it wasn't awful, because I know a lot of women go through really terrible nausea, but mine was pretty mild, I would say. And there were some days where it was manageable. I could still, do things around the house and get some errands done. And then there were other days that I just had to have grace on myself, and I was on the couch all day. So it really wasn't awful, I guess. I know a lot of women, again, have it, this nausea can linger all the way through, sometimes into the second trimester. And so the fact that around week 11, week 12, it pretty much subsided and went away, I feel pretty blessed that it didn't linger longer than that. Yeah, it definitely didn't kind of taper off and I'm feeling, slowly better. It went from one day I'm so sick to the next morning I felt totally fine. I felt great. So it was definitely an overnight change where my body, I guess, just adjusted to the hormones, and everything was great. So that's basically, when it comes to nausea, that was my experience. Some other symptoms that I had written down other than that was, of course, I was super tired. So I would wake up in the morning and feel like I had gotten no sleep, and I just could not rest enough, especially around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2:30, I would just hit this wall and be done. I needed a nap, and I would nap from maybe 2 to 4, and then I'd get up and go to bed at like 8:30 or 9 and be done. So I was super tired. So definitely coming out of the first trimester, I feel like a lot of my energy is back now, and I'm not having to take naps as frequently. So that's been much better. But that was a big thing from especially week 7 to 12, where I was just so tired all the time. A couple other things I've been experiencing just in my own body is bloating. I felt super bloated and just like blah all the time, and feeling nauseous and bloated is like the worst combination. There were times I would look in the mirror and be like, I think I'm showing, is this my bump? But no, I'm just bloated. And then of course, really sore boobs. I feel like that's really common. And another thing that's been pretty consistent from the beginning is cramping and lower back pain. It's definitely manageable. I would say it's pretty mild, but it's there. It's always there. I just feel uncomfortable. I just know things are growing and expanding, and things are being shifted around, and it just is uncomfortable. And laying down is kind of the best relief for that. But especially when I'm just hunched over, or even when I am walking or on my feet for long periods of time, I can just start to feel it. It just feels uncomfortable. I don't know any other word to describe it other than that. It's very mild. It's nothing concerning. I've talked to my doctor about it, and my doctor has reassured me that it's very normal to experience cramping and lower back pain early on, even through the second trimester. But it still is just kind of this I wish there's no relief for it. I wish I could just feel normal. And working out has been really challenging, because when I feel that lower back pain and cramping, working out is the last thing I want to do. Thinking about doing squats and bending over and jumping around is like, oh, there's no way. So that's been really challenging, but I'm just thankful it hasn't been anything serious. It's definitely been manageable. Another thing I've experienced is an increase in headaches. I feel like I always get headaches anyway, and so being pregnant has really just heightened the headaches. They've gone from just mild, oh, maybe I just haven't, been drinking enough water, to full on migraines. So there's really no relief. Normally I would just pile on the Excedrin, but I'm really trying to not take any kind of medication and just kind of wait it out. Drink water, stay hydrated, and rest. So that is basically what I do when I get a headache. And, again, it's been one of those things where I just kind of have to make it through it, and I'm fine at the end of the day, but it's definitely been increased since getting pregnant. So that is it for all of the symptoms that I've been experiencing through the first trimester, and everything that has gone into pregnancy from weeks 1 to 12. So I'm just excited to be on to the second trimester, and that things are going great. The baby is healthy, and I'm just really, really excited to share this journey with you guys. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and show my 16-week bump. Even though this is my first trimester recap, I'll go ahead and just show my 16-week belly just to have it documented. All right, that is it for my first trimester recap. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what your baby registry must-have items are. I'm currently going into that world right now of researching baby products and figuring out what to do for a registry. So anything you have that you think would be helpful to know, things, definitely put this on your registry, or don't put this on your registry, you won't need that. Leave me all the advice below. That would be super helpful. So again, make sure that you guys are subscribed if you're not already, and make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!